Chapter 9. Something Different About Miss Jules. The children returned from Christmas vacation. On each desk were 2 knitting needles and a hunk of yarn. "Today we are going to learn how to knit," said Miss Jules. She showed the class how it was done. "See, you stick this needle through here, then wrap this around like this, stick through this, pull this like this, and then you stick this here. Any questions?" Everyone stared at her. "Good," said Miss Jules. "I want everyone to make socks." "Okay, get started." Damien looked at his knitting needles. He didn't have a clue. He looked back at Miss Jules. Now, more than ever, he was sure she was somehow different. She was sitting at her desk, knitting and eating bologneos. Damien couldn't remember Miss Jules ever eating a bologna before. A bologna was an Oreo cookie, except instead of the white part, there was a round hunk of bologna. Miss Mush invented them. "Hey, Mac," whispered Damien, "does Miss Jules seem different to you?" "She's fat," said Mac. "That's not a nice thing to say," said Damien. "I didn't say it to Miss Jules," said Mac. "I didn't go, 'Hey, Miss Jules, you're fat.'" Miss Jules cleared her throat as she stood up. She walked around the room. "Very nice, DJ," she said. "You're doing fine, Rondi." She stopped at Joe's desk. "Oh, Joe," she gushed. "Look, everybody. I want you to see Joe's socks." She held it up. "Isn't it the most beautiful sock you have ever saw?" It was a great sock. Everybody oohed and ahed. Joe was as surprised as anyone. He didn't know he knew how to make socks. But the boy was born to knit. Miss Jules started to cry. "I love this sock," she sobbed. "Uh-oh," said Kathy. "I think she's finally flipped out." "I love you, Kathy," said Miss Jules. She looked around the room. "I love all of you." She put her hand on Kathy's desk. "I love this desk," she said. "I love the blackboard. I love the clock on the wall." There was a ruler on the floor. Miss Jules picked it up. "I love this ruler," she declared. "Hey, that's mine," said Dana. "But, that's okay, Miss Jules, you can have it." "I don't want your ruler, Dana," said Miss Jules, handing it to her. "You want my pair of scissors?" offered Sherry. "Don't give her anything sharp," warned Kathy. Miss Jules wiped away her tears and smiled at the class. "I'm going to miss all of you very much," she said. "Are you going away?" asked Damien. "Yeah, to the loony bin," whispered Kathy. "Are you sick?" asked Eric Ovens. "No, I'm not sick," said Miss Jules. "In fact, I'm better than I've ever been." She beamed. "I'm going to have a baby." Everyone gasped. Damien couldn't believe it. He was so happy he jumped out of his seat and hugged Miss Jules. She was soon surrounded by all of her students, even Kathy wanting to hug her. "Today is my last day here," Miss Jules told her students. "My doctor doesn't want me walking up and down 30 flights of stairs every day. I wasn't even supposed to come today, but I just had to say goodbye." "I thought you were getting fat," said Mac, "but I didn't want to say anything." "Thank you, Mac," said Miss Jules. "You're very considerate." "Can I touch your stomach?" asked Stephen. Miss Jules laughed. "Sure," she said. The children took turns touching her stomach. "What are you going to name your baby?" asked Allison. "I don't know yet," said Miss Jules. "What do you think?" "Well, if she's a girl," said Allison, "I think you should name her Rainbow Sunshine." "That's a nice name," said Miss Jules. "And if he's a boy?" "Buckethead," said Allison. She didn't like boys. "If he's a boy, you should name him Jet Rocket," said Joe. "Jet Rocket Jules," mused Miss Jules. "That has a nice ring to it." "And what if she's a girl?" "Cootie Face," said Joe. Miss Jules laughed. "So let me get this straight," she said. "If he's a boy, I'll name him Buckethead." "Right," said Allison and Rondi. "And if she's a girl, I'll name her Cootie Face." "Right," said Joe and John. Damien laughed. He knew Miss Jules was only joking. At least he hoped she was. Terrence placed his palm flat against Miss Jewel's stomach. "Hey," he exclaimed. "The dude kicked me." Suddenly, Damien felt very sad. He was going to miss her a lot. He wiped a tear from his eye. "It's unfair," he shouted. "We finally come back to Wayside School after being gone for so long, and now you're leaving us." "I have to," said Miss Jules. "I know," whined Damien. "You have to make sure that you and the baby are healthy. But it still isn't fair." "I think you'll like your substitute teacher," said Miss Jules. "I spoke to him over the vacation. He seems like a very nice man." "A man?" asked Damien. "Cool." They all thought it was pretty neat to have a man teacher. "Yes," said Miss Jules. "His name is Mr. Gorf.